Solomon's story begins in the heart of a turbulent royal family. As the son of King David and Bathsheba, his path to the throne was far from straightforward. David, a revered king, had a complicated legacy, particularly due to his tumultuous relationship with Bathsheba, who was initially the wife of another man. Their union, often seen as scandalous, was marked by deep familial tensions, especially with David's other sons aspiring to inherit the throne. Solomon, born into this complex web of relationships and rivalries, had to navigate a kingdom rife with political intrigue from an early age. Despite the challenges, Solomon's rise to kingship was both unexpected and remarkable. After the death of his older brother Adonijah, who had initially claimed the throne, Solomon was anointed king in a dramatic turn of events orchestrated by the prophet Nathan and Bathsheba. This act not only solidified Solomon's position, but also marked a significant moment in Israel's history. The anointing took place in Gihon, a traditional site for royal ceremonies, and it signified the divine endorsement of Solomon's reign. It was a clear indication that God had chosen him for this pivotal role, despite the controversies surrounding his birth and family dynamics. As he ascended the throne, Solomon faced the daunting task of proving himself worthy of the kingship. His early reign was characterized by a blend of wisdom and youthful exuberance. He had inherited not just a kingdom, but also the weight of expectations from his father and the people of Israel. It was a time when his decisions would set the course for his reign and the future of Israel. Solomon's early actions, particularly in dealing with the remnants of his father's conflicts, demonstrated a keen political acumen that would become a hallmark of his leadership. To solidify his position, Solomon sought to establish alliances and quell any dissent within the kingdom. He dispatched his half-brother Adonijah, who had made an unsuccessful bid for the throne, and took steps to eliminate potential threats to his rule. This ruthless pragmatism showcased his understanding of the delicate balance of power within his family and the broader political landscape. Solomon's ability to navigate these treacherous waters early in his reign would lay the groundwork for his future successes. In many ways, Solomon's early life and ascension were a testament to the complexities of royal lineage. His unexpected rise from the shadows of familial strife to the forefront of Israel's leadership illustrates a fascinating narrative of destiny, ambition, and divine purpose. It set the stage for what would become one of the most prosperous and culturally rich periods in Israeli history. When Solomon took the throne, he ushered in what is often referred to as the Golden Age of Israel. This era was marked by unprecedented peace and prosperity, a time when the nation flourished both economically and culturally. Under Solomon's leadership, Israel expanded its influence, becoming a formidable power in the region. The king's diplomatic skills and strategic marriages played a crucial role in maintaining peace and fostering trade relations with neighboring nations. This was a time when Israel was not just a small kingdom, it was a significant player on the ancient world stage. The wealth accumulated during Solomon's reign was staggering. Trade routes were established that connected Israel with distant lands, leading to an influx of goods, resources, and ideas. The economy thrived, and the people experienced a level of prosperity that had been unseen in previous generations. Solomon's vision for a prosperous Israel was realized through the establishment of extensive trade networks, including alliances with powerful neighbors. These connections facilitated the exchange of valuable commodities, such as gold, silver, and luxury items, contributing to the kingdom's wealth. Culturally, this golden age was a period of remarkable achievements. Solomon's court became a hub of artistic and intellectual activity. The king himself was known for his wisdom and insight, which attracted scholars, craftsmen, and artists from far and wide. Literature, philosophy, and the arts flourished during this time, and many biblical texts, including proverbs and songs, are attributed to Solomon. His contributions to literature and philosophy not only enriched Israel's cultural heritage, but also left a lasting legacy that would influence generations to come. One of the most notable aspects of Solomon's reign was the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem. This monumental project was not merely an architectural feat. It symbolized the spiritual and national identity of the Israelites. The temple became the central place of worship, a physical manifestation of Solomon's commitment to God and the Jewish people. The grandeur of the temple, adorned with gold and precious stones, reflected the wealth and glory of the nation. It was a place where the Israelites could gather to worship, celebrate, and seek guidance, solidifying Solomon's role as not just a political leader, but also a spiritual one. As the Golden Age progressed, Israel's reputation as a powerful nation continued to grow. Solomon's ability to maintain peace and stability allowed the kingdom to focus on development and cultural enrichment. This period of prosperity and cultural achievements under Solomon's reign is often seen as the high point of ancient Israel, a time that would be remembered for its grandeur and significance in the annals of history. With the vastness of his kingdom, Solomon understood that effective administration was crucial for maintaining order and facilitating trade. To manage his empire efficiently, he established 12 administrative districts, each governed by appointed officials. This innovative approach to governance allowed for better management of resources, trade, and taxation. By decentralizing authority, Solomon ensured that local leaders were accountable for their regions, which in turn fostered a sense of loyalty and responsibility among his subjects. Each district was strategically created to optimize trade routes and agricultural production. Solomon recognized that a well-organized administrative system was essential for sustaining the wealth and prosperity of his kingdom. The districts were not merely bureaucratic divisions. They represented a sophisticated governance model that enabled the king to exert control and oversight over his vast territory. By promoting local governance, Solomon empowered regional leaders to address the specific needs of their communities, fostering a sense of unity and cooperation among diverse populations. Taxation also played a significant role in Solomon's administration. The revenue generated from these 12 districts helped fund monumental projects, including the construction of the temple and the royal palace. Solomon implemented a fair and systematic tax structure that balanced the need for revenue with the welfare of his subjects. This approach not only ensured a steady influx of resources, but also cultivated goodwill among the people, who saw the tangible benefits of their contributions to the kingdom. In addition to managing the economy, Solomon's governance was marked by a commitment to justice and legal reform. He was known for his wisdom in resolving disputes and making decisions that reflected a deep understanding of human nature. The famous story of his judgment in the case of two women claiming to be the mother of the same baby exemplifies his ability to discern truth and justice. This incident not only showcased his wisdom, but also solidified his reputation as a fair and just ruler, further enhancing his legitimacy in the eyes of the people. Through these administrative innovations, Solomon laid the groundwork for a stable and prosperous Israel. His governance model, characterized by decentralization, equitable taxation, and a commitment to justice, ensured that the kingdom thrived during his reign. This period of effective administration not only contributed to Solomon's legacy, but also set a precedent for future rulers in the region. Solomon's reign was not only marked by political achievements, but also by profound cultural and religious contributions that shaped the identity of Israel. One of his most significant accomplishments was the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem, which became the spiritual heart of the nation. This monumental structure was not just a place of worship. It represented the covenant between God and the Israelites, symbolizing their unique identity as God's chosen people. The temple established Jerusalem as a central religious site, drawing pilgrims from all corners of the kingdom and beyond. In addition to the temple, Solomon is traditionally credited with authoring several biblical texts, including the Book of Proverbs and the Song of Solomon. These works reflect his wisdom and insight, offering guidance on morality, ethics, and the nature of love. Solomon's literary contributions enriched the cultural heritage of Israel, providing future generations with timeless wisdom that continues to resonate today. His ability to articulate profound truths in accessible language made these texts popular among the people, further cementing his legacy as a wise king. The first temple also served as a center for religious festivals and communal gatherings, reinforcing the spiritual cohesion of the Israelites. Solomon's commitment to worship and the centralized practice of religion helped unite the diverse tribes of Israel under a common faith. The rituals and ceremonies conducted in the temple fostered a deep sense of belonging among the people, strengthening their collective identity and commitment to God. Moreover, Solomon's reign was characterized by a notable openness to cultural exchange. His diplomatic marriages, particularly with foreign royal families, facilitated the exchange of ideas, customs, and religious practices. While this openness would later have negative consequences, during the Golden Age, it enriched Israelite culture and broadened their perspective. The blending of traditions and beliefs contributed to a more vibrant cultural landscape, allowing for artistic and intellectual growth. Through these cultural and religious contributions, Solomon not only established a powerful and prosperous kingdom, but also laid the foundation for a rich spiritual legacy. His reign is remembered as a time of artistic flourishing, religious devotion, and profound wisdom, leaving an indelible mark on the history of Israel. The temple, the literary works, and the cultural exchanges he fostered continue to be celebrated as key elements of Israel's heritage. Solomon's approach to foreign alliances was as strategic as it was ambitious. His marriages to foreign princesses, most notably the Queen of Sheba, were often viewed through the lens of political strategy. By marrying women from neighboring kingdoms, Solomon sought to strengthen Israel's position, enhance trade opportunities, and ensure peace with potential adversaries. This practice was not unique to him. It was a common tactic among rulers of the time, aimed at solidifying alliances and fostering goodwill. Solomon's ability to navigate these relationships was a testament to his diplomatic acumen. However, these marriages had implications beyond mere politics. They brought foreign customs and beliefs into the heart of Israel. While Solomon may have initially embraced these women and their cultures for the sake of diplomacy, it is evident that the influence of these foreign alliances began to seep into the fabric of Israelite society. His court became a melting pot of different traditions and beliefs, and this mingling of cultures would later play a significant role in the spiritual decline of the nation. The Queen of Sheba, in particular, is a fascinating figure in this narrative. Her visit to Solomon is often highlighted as a meeting of great minds and cultures. While the exchange of gifts and wisdom was certainly a highlight, it also symbolized the broader blending of cultures that Solomon encouraged. This interaction not only elevated Solomon's status, but also showcased Israel as a center of wealth and knowledge in the region. Yet, beneath this veneer of prosperity lay the seeds of future challenges that would arise from diverging religious practices. As Solomon extended his reach through these alliances, the economic benefits were undeniable. Trade routes flourished, and Israel became a hub for commerce. The influx of goods, ideas, and people transformed the kingdom into a vibrant entity that attracted the attention of neighboring nations. However, this prosperity also came at a cost. The alliances forged through marriage began to shift the dynamics within Israel, leading to tensions between loyal followers of Yahweh and those who were increasingly influenced by foreign deities. In essence, while Solomon's foreign alliances may have positioned Israel as a powerful and wealthy nation, they also laid the groundwork for spiritual ambiguity. The blending of cultures and beliefs created a fertile ground for idolatry to take root, ultimately challenging the very foundation of Israelite worship. As these alliances grew stronger, they began to overshadow the singular devotion that had previously characterized the worship of Yahweh among the Israelites. The transition from the devoted worship of Yahweh to the acceptance of foreign gods marks a pivotal chapter in Solomon's reign. As his foreign alliances deepened, the influence of his wives became increasingly pronounced. Initially, Solomon may have maintained a strong devotion to Yahweh, but the allure of his wives' traditions and gods proved to be a formidable challenge. The gradual shift in worship practices reflects a broader trend of syncretism that had begun to take root in Israelite society. It is essential to understand that this shift was not an overnight occurrence. It was a slow and insidious process where the practices of worshiping Yahweh began to blend with the rituals and beliefs of the gods of his wives. The acceptance of foreign deities was often rationalized as a means of maintaining harmony within the royal household. Solomon's desire to please his foreign wives inadvertently led him down a path that would compromise the spiritual integrity of the nation. Archaeological evidence suggests that high places dedicated to foreign gods were established during Solomon's reign. These sites became places of worship where rituals and offerings were made to deities such as Ashtoreth and Molech. This marked a stark departure from the centralized worship in the temple of Yahweh. As people began to participate in these new forms of worship, the once unified religious identity of Israel began to fracture, giving way to a pluralistic society that strayed from its monotheistic roots. The consequences of this shift were not merely spiritual. They reverberated through the social and political landscape of Israel. As idolatry gained a foothold, the people became divided in their loyalties. Some remained steadfast in their devotion to Yahweh, while others embraced the new practices introduced by the foreign influences. This division would sow the seeds of conflict and unrest that would emerge in the years to come, as the nation struggled to navigate its identity in the wake of Solomon's choices. Ultimately, the shift towards idolatry represented a departure from the covenant between Yahweh and Israel. The very essence of what it meant to be part of the chosen people became obscured by the allure of foreign gods. As Solomon's reign progressed, it became increasingly clear that the spiritual legacy he was building would have lasting repercussions not only for his kingdom, but for generations to come. As Solomon's idolatry took root, the divine displeasure of God became evident, manifesting in prophetic warnings that echoed through the land. The faithful among the Israelites could sense the shifting tides, as the once clear relationship between Yahweh and his people became clouded by the rising influence of foreign worship. Prophets emerged during this tumultuous time, delivering messages from God that sought to redirect the nation back to its covenantal roots. These prophetic warnings served as a crucial reminder of the consequences that awaited the people if they continued down the path of idolatry. God's messages were not merely threats, they were deeply rooted in love and concern for his people. The warnings highlighted the consequences of abandoning their true faith, emphasizing that such actions would lead to division and strife within the kingdom. It was a call to repentance, urging the Israelites to return to their first love. One significant prophetic voice during this period was that of Ahijah, who delivered a stark message to Solomon. He foretold that because of Solomon's actions, the kingdom would be torn apart after his death. This prophecy served as a crucial turning point, casting a long shadow over Solomon's reign. While Solomon enjoyed the fruits of his labor, the weight of this prophecy loomed over him, a reminder of the spiritual consequences that accompanied his choices. Despite these warnings, Solomon's heart appeared hardened by the allure of wealth and power. The very godliness that had characterized his early reign seemed to wane in the face of his growing attachment to foreign influences. The prophetic messages became increasingly urgent, calling for a return to the worship of Yahweh and a renunciation of the foreign gods that had infiltrated the hearts of the people. In the end, the divine displeasure expressed through the prophets served as a poignant reminder of the covenant relationship that had once defined Israel. The warnings not only foreshadowed the impending division of the kingdom, but also highlighted the deep yearning of God for his people to remain faithful. As the narrative unfolded, it became clear that the consequences of Solomon's idolatry would set into motion a series of events that would alter the course of Israel's history forever. The political landscape of Israel during and after Solomon's reign was profoundly influenced by his spiritual decline and the embrace of idolatry. The unifying force that had characterized Solomon's early years began to fracture as divisions emerged within the kingdom. The very alliances that had initially strengthened Israel now became points of contention, leading to rival factions and competing interests among the populace. As Solomon's spiritual integrity eroded, so too did his authority as a ruler. The prophetic warnings that had been delivered were not taken lightly, and the people began to question the stability of his leadership. The growing discontent among the Israelites was palpable, with factions forming around those who remained loyal to the worship of Yahweh and those who embraced foreign practices. This division set the stage for political unrest, as rival groups sought to assert their influence over the direction of the kingdom. One of the most significant political ramifications of Solomon's actions was the eventual division of the kingdom after his death. The seeds of discord that had been planted during his reign blossomed into full-blown conflict as his son Rehoboam ascended to the throne. The people, weary of heavy taxation and labor demands, approached Rehoboam with a request for relief. His failure to heed their pleas and the subsequent decision to increase burdens only deepened the rift within the nation. This rift culminated in the split between the northern and southern kingdoms, with Israel and Judah emerging as distinct entities. The division was not merely political. It was also a reflection of the spiritual turmoil that had taken root during Solomon's reign. The schism laid the groundwork for a tumultuous period in Israelite history, characterized by rivalry, conflict, and a struggle for identity. As the political ramifications unfolded, it became clear that Solomon's choices had far-reaching consequences. The alliances he had forged, the foreign gods he had embraced, and the idolatry that had permeated society all contributed to a legacy of strife. The once unified kingdom of Israel was now fractured, and the repercussions of Solomon's reign would resonate through generations, shaping the course of the nation's history in ways that he could not have foreseen. The circumstances surrounding Solomon's death remain somewhat shrouded in mystery, though most accounts suggest he passed away due to natural causes. As the king grew older, his health began to decline, and whispers of his mortality started to circulate among the people. The once great ruler who had presided over a golden age of prosperity and peace was now facing the reality of his own mortality. This period of decline foreshadowed the turmoil that would follow his death as the nation held its breath, uncertain of what the future would hold. Solomon's son, Rehoboam, was next in line to inherit the throne. However, the transition of power would not be as smooth as one might expect. Rehoboam, young and inexperienced, faced immediate challenges that would test his leadership skills. The kingdom was divided, with factions already forming around competing ideologies. Some supported Rehoboam, hoping for a continuation of his father's policies, while others were eager for a shift that would prioritize their needs and desires, particularly regarding the heavy taxation that Solomon had imposed. As news of Solomon's death spread, the Israelites gathered to confront Rehoboam. They sought assurances that he would ease the burdens placed upon them by his father. They wanted to know if he would listen to their grievances and govern with a more humane approach. However, the young king was swayed by the advice of his peers, who urged him to assert his authority and continue his father's policies. This decision would prove to be a critical misstep, igniting tensions that had been brewing beneath the surface. Rehoboam's refusal to compromise led to a dramatic split in the kingdom. The 10 northern tribes, feeling unrepresented and disillusioned, chose to break away and form their own nation, leaving Rehoboam to rule over the southern kingdom of Judah alone. This division marked a significant turning point in Israel's history, and it was a direct consequence of Solomon's actions during his reign. The inability to maintain unity among the tribes would haunt the nation for generations, leading to further strife and conflict. The implications of Solomon's death and Rehoboam's succession were far-reaching. The once unified kingdom of Israel was now fractured, and the legacy of Solomon's reign was forever altered. What had begun as a period of prosperity and peace devolved into a saga of division and conflict, illustrating the profound impact that leadership choices can have on the course of history. The lessons learned from this tumultuous transition would resonate through the ages, serving as a cautionary tale for future rulers.